let's look at fact families. Now we're going to look at fact families for addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Now we've talked about two properties, commutative and inverse, and we're going to talk more about that as we go. But let's talk about addition. Let's say we had the problem 2 plus 3 equals 5. Well, the commutative property says that if we switch the 2 and the 3, we should still get 5. So the fact family for the commutative property says 2 plus 3 equals 5. Well, also 3 plus 2 equals 5. Well, now let's look at the inverse, and each one of these problems has an inverse. And we've talked how inverse means the opposite of. So for the first 2 plus 3 equals 5, I'm going to just write the numbers. Okay, 5, 3, 2. I just went backwards. 5, 3, 2. Now, because I'm looking at addition, I know the opposite of addition is subtraction. So the inverse would be 5 minus 3 equals 2. Well, let's look at 3 plus 2 equals 5. I want to go ahead and write in the numbers first, just in reverse order. 5, 2, 3. And because I'm looking at addition, that means I'm going to subtract for the inverse. Now let's look at subtraction. It works a little bit different. Let's look at the problem. 7 minus 5 equals 2. Now it doesn't make sense to try and reverse the 7 and the 5 because you can't take 7 away from 5. What we can do, however, is reverse the last two. It is true that 7 minus 2 equals 5. Now that's the commutative property there. Now let's look at the inverse, the opposite. Well, we're looking at subtraction, so the opposite would be addition. So let's go ahead and write our numbers backwards. 2, 5, 7. Here we had 7, 5, 2. And because it's subtraction, I'm going to go ahead and make it addition. Okay, let's look at the next one. 7 minus 2 equals 5. I'm going to write my numbers in backwards first. 7, 2, 5, 5, 2, 7. And because it's subtraction, the inverse would be addition. Okay, now let's look at multiplication. Let's look at the problem 8 times 4 equals 32. Now commutative property says if 8 times 4 is 32, then 4 times 8 is 32. Okay, now let's go ahead and do the inverse. If we're multiplying, the inverse of multiplication should be division. So I want to go ahead, write in my numbers like I did before, just in the reverse order. I went 8, 4, 32. Now I'm going 32, 4, 8. And because I multiplied, now I'm going to divide. Okay, let's look at 8. 4 times 8 equals 32. I'm going to write in my numbers first. 4, 8, 32. 32, 8, 4. And because I multiplied, now I'm going to divide. Okay. Now division works a little bit different. So let's look at the division problem. 21 divided by 7 is 3. Much like subtraction, we can't reverse our first two numbers. But we can say that 21 divided by 3 is 7. Now let's look at the inverse. Just like before, I'm going to write my numbers first, but just in the reverse order. If I went 21, 7, 3, I want to go 3, 7, 21. Because it's division, I know that it's now multiply. Okay, let's look at the last one. 21 divided by 3 is 7. You guessed it, just like before, I'm going to write in my numbers first in reverse order. 21, 3, 7. 7, 3, 21. And because I divided, the inverse of division is multiplication. Now when you see a problem, addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division, you should have 4 problems that go in that fact family. So make sure you have them all there.